Simon, all sorts of talk that our friend from Qatar, the man who is the chairman of PSG, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, is out and about, and it could well be getting more than a bit of interest from some of the top clubs here, as his organisation, Qatar-based Investments, are keen to invest in a top Premier League club here in the English game. Qatar reportedly considering a £1 billion offer to invest in Tottenham after Nasser held talks reportedly with Daniel Levy for a 25% stake in the football club. I want to put this to you, Simon, because you're across this, and I know you speak to Nasser Al-Khelaifi and you speak to some of his representatives since we were in Qatar and since we've been back. So I don't think I'm breaking any confidence here. Is it impossible for Tottenham to represent themselves as a better investment opportunity over the likes of Liverpool or Manchester United? The reason I ask that, and Tottenham fans will probably flare up, look at our stadium. Yeah, we know that. But Liverpool and United have a heritage and a history that Tottenham cannot claim to have.
And that's very true. But also, Chelsea once upon a time were the acquisition that started this whole, what I would say, race to the bottom. I know Jack Walker can come into the mix about what he did at Blackburn as being really the first person to really set the heather on fire with buying a team to build to win things rather than having a team that's had a heritage that builds and wins things on the back of its own reputation and draw. Depends upon the price, Jim. If you put £1 billion down on Tottenham and value it at £4 billion, then I don't think that makes them particularly more appealing than Liverpool. The price break would make them more appealing. I find it curious to understand why Qatar would want to own a minority stake in Tottenham. I would think that there's either legislative positions that would prohibit them from doing anything more than that, or maybe that this is a sprat to catch a mackerel because these boys have got plenty of money and they don't need to be minority shareholders in other football clubs.
Well, precisely. Would that not be the start towards a full buyout?
That would probably be the likely outcome at some point. I think there's a point that Joe Lewis will say that that's enough for me, thank you very much. And if there's enough money on the table, I'm pretty sure that will come. And whether that leaves Daniel Levy in situ is a different discussion. Tottenham as a football club have got all their ducks in a line except on the pitch. You know, commercially they produced the best outcomes in football a few years ago with the biggest profitability ever seen from a Premier League football club, and I think in football full stop at 130 million quid 3, 4, 5 years ago. They've built a phenomenal stadium. Okay, there's some debt against it, but it's the cheapest debt you can get because Daniel got it from the COVID relief scheme to be able to get some money into the into the building of the football stadium alongside NFL money. Does it make more value to Liverpool and Man United? Well, look, Man United we're being told that Man United won't go for anything less than 6 billion via the Rain Group, and probably Liverpool fancy themselves at 5 billion. So Tottenham at 4 gives you a price break. The London thing does have value because they'll look at the Chelsea model and they'll say, well, Chelsea, of course, to us in London and Kings of the King's Road, will always have this view that there is some value in London. I'm not sure.
Does that pit United and Liverpool over Tottenham in terms of, Tottenham, state-of-the-art stadium and a London club?
It depends how much money you're going to spend. I personally don't believe there's a lot of truth in this. I don't look at this and think, well, yeah, I can see the fit in this. I can see Khelaifi over here sitting down with Daniel Levy and negotiating a deal to buy 25% of Tottenham. I don't think there's any substance in it. But insofar as I'm right or wrong, time will be the teller of that. But if you're looking at the dynamic of which would be the better buy, well, you know, Liverpool are a far more successful football club on the global stage of recognisability, on the marketability side, on the achievement side. But if the price is prohibitive, then Tottenham have the pluses of being a canvas that you can paint upon differently, perhaps. An infrastructure that's already been built, not paid for. So you're not buying something that's been bought and paid for. You're buying something that's in the process of being paid for.
Yeah.
And you're buying a club that, despite my belief that Conte is the antidote, is the kryptonite to continued failure, because Tottenham's inability to win anything is continued failure. And he is the kryptonite to that if he's given the support and the time to be able to build a side. All of those things
The
to me,
Qataris know now's their time, Simon, though.
Well, this is
off the back of the World Cup, they know now's their time.
This is the thing, Jim, which is why I question the viability and the validity of this.
They talked. You said to me when Todd Bowley was in Nasser Al-Khelafi's box, and so were we for England, USA. These people at that level talk.
Of course they do, and they'll talk about the landscape of how they're going to boot agents out of football, and they'll talk about how they're going to make sure there's more money for them, and how they're going to make sure they can close doors for the next European Super League, and they'll talk about a whole raft of things, right? They won't be talking about buying one another's businesses at this moment in time. But the bottom line is I think all roads lead to Damascus, for want of a better expression. Everyone's going to go, Qatar. We've just seen Qatar. We've all seen they've got more money than bleeding God. Look at the infrastructure they've got over there. Let's all run to Qatar. Right? You'll see boxing pop up over there. You'll see everything pop up now because first of all, they've shown that they can do something.
Yeah.
Second of all, the world's got their eyes open to the potential of that country. You know, whether people like the principles and some of the cultural values, that'll be overcome by money, I can assure you. And you'll see everything will be indexed. Olympic bids, everything will be indexed. And everyone will be using Qatar as a stalking horse, like they started to use China back in the day for footballers. They'll now start to use it as, well, we'll go to Qatar. If KSA won't pay for something, we'll go to Qatar.
Right. I know you know him. Can you see Khelafi and his investment fund, which has limitless money?
Well, it's state money, isn't it?
Investing $1 billion in Tottenham.
No, I don't think so.
Investing in a Premier League club, full stop.
Buying a Premier League club, maybe. Who that may well be. Listen, there is a rivalry, and there was a look across the Gulf at one another between Saudi and Qatar, and of course you've got PIF, the private fund, is it, or state-owned? State-owned, I think.
Public investment fund.
Yeah. State-owned. State-owned. Sorry, Newcastle, state-owned. But I think I can see them because I never understood the purchase of Paris Saint-Germain, but they bought it for 70 million quid.
Yeah.
It's now worth 4 billion, according to Nasser.
He had an offer while you and I were there.
Yeah. And having spent time with him, he knows his sport.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my opinions, not because I've been bought and paid for, my opinions have changed because I understand the animal. And the biggest argument I always had about the Middle Eastern money was it corrupts. No, I don't mean corruptive in terms of it's illicit payments. I mean corrupting in terms of the financial landscape being influenced by hyperinflation. And the robust argument I got from Nasser Al-Khelafi, and he's bloody right, by the way, is if football doesn't want it, get governance to be stronger. If you don't want inflation and you don't want financial fair play being obviated and you don't want football being taken over by Middle Eastern money that can use it for different methodologies, then get football to grow a pair of balls and govern itself properly. Yeah. And to be fair, it's an argument you can't push muck against, can you?
Do you think Tottenham need new investment just before we hit the break? The fans would probably argue they do.
I don't think they do. I think Tottenham are perfectly capable of spending the kind of money that's required to get them to be close.
They want to do what Manchester City do and win the league every year.
Everybody wants to do that, but there's only someone. I mean, no one's going to do what Man City have done. Liverpool can't do it. Manchester United haven't been able to do it for a decade. Tottenham aren't going to be able to do it. Arsenal are making a good fist of it, but spending £150 million a year to do that. Tottenham are going to have to do that, and they can do that. Of course they can do that if they choose to.
I think we better speak to Nasser Al-Khelafi pretty soon, do you know? We'll arrange to do that.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.